Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany. Welcome to Randomness, where we talk about a little bit of everything, the deep, the weird, and the real. So take a breath, open your mind, and let's get into it. Today, we are going to talk about something that's both incredibly personal and kind of universal at the same time: your relationship with the universe. And yeah, I know to some people it might sound a little crazy, woo woo, abstract, or whatever. But when I say the universe, I'm talking about whatever that bigger thing is for you. Maybe you call it God. Maybe you call it source, energy, life force, or nature, or the cosmos. Maybe you don't have a name for it at all, but you have this sense that there's something larger than yourself at work in the world. And here's what I've noticed: a lot of us have this relationship, but we don't really think about it as a relationship. We don't tend to it. We don't check in with it. We just kind of assume it's there in the background. Or we get frustrated when it doesn't seem to be working the way we want. But what if we approached it the same way we approach our human relationships? What if we thought about how to communicate better, how to listen, how to show up, how to trust, and how to navigate the times when it feels distant or broken? That's what we are exploring today. Okay, so first things first, what does it mean to have a relationship with the universe? For some people, this looks like prayer. For others, it's meditation or spending time in nature. For some, it's those moments when you feel deeply connected to life, when you're watching a sunset or holding someone you love or experiencing something beautiful and you just feel like you're part of something so much bigger than yourself. But I think at its core, a relationship with the universe is about acknowledging that you're not doing this whole life thing alone, that there's something, call it what you want, that's moving through your life alongside you and sometimes guiding you, sometimes challenging you, sometimes just witnessing you. It's the feeling that there's an intelligence or an order or a flow to things that's beyond what you can see or control, and that you can interact with. You can ask for help. You can express gratitude. You can surrender to it. You can rage at it when things feel unfair. You can listen for its guidance. The key word here is relationship, not a one-way street where you're just asking for things or where you're completely passive, but an actual back and forth relationship, like a conversation, a dance between you and life itself. And here's something important: this relationship is deeply personal. There's no right way to do it. Some people feel the universe as warm and loving, like a parent. Other people experience it as neutral, like a force of nature that doesn't judge but responds. Some people feel it as playful, sending signs and synchronicities like little winks. And others experience it as fierce and challenging, pushing them to grow. None of these are wrong. Your relationship with the universe is yours. It's shaped by your experiences, your beliefs, your personality, your culture, and it can evolve over time. Okay, so let's get practical. How do you actually communicate with something you can't see or touch? The most obvious answer is prayer, but I want to expand that definition. Prayer doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to follow any rules. At its simplest, prayer is just talking honestly to something bigger than yourself. This can look like sitting quietly and speaking out loud or in your mind. It can look like writing in a journal as if you're writing a letter to the universe. It can look like going for a walk and having a conversation in your head. It can look like crying and asking for help. And it can look like celebrating and expressing gratitude. The point is to be honest. Don't perform. Don't try to use the right words or sound spiritual. Just be real. Say what's actually on your heart. Like, I'm scared about this decision, or I'm so grateful for this moment. Thank you for this person in my life. Talking to the universe, it's not about being perfect or enlightened. It's about being authentic. And there's something incredibly powerful about speaking your truth out loud, even if you're speaking it to the sky. Another way to communicate is through intention setting. This is like a more focused version of asking. Instead of just hoping for something, you clearly state what you want to create or invite into your life, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of clarity and openness. Like, I want to feel more peace in my daily life. I'm open to opportunities that align with my purpose. And you're not demanding. You're not trying to control every detail. You're just stating your desire and then releasing it, trusting that the universe heard you. And then there's gratitude. This is one of the most powerful forms of communication because it shifts your energy from lack to abundance. When you regularly express gratitude for the big things and the tiny things, you are essentially telling the universe, I see what you're giving me. I'm paying attention. Thank you. That acknowledgement strengthens the relationship. It's like when you thank a friend for something thoughtful they did, it makes them feel seen and it deepens your bond. Okay, so you're talking to the universe, but is it talking back? And if so, how did you hear it? This is where things get subtle. And honestly, this is where a lot of people get stuck because obviously the universe doesn't usually send you a text message or write a letter. The communication is more nuanced than that. One of the most common ways the universe communicates is through signs and synchronicities. These are those moments when something happens that feels too perfectly timed to be random. You're thinking about someone and they text you. You're struggling with a decision and you overhear a conversation that gives you clarity. Or you keep seeing the same number or symbol everywhere. A book falls off the shelf and it's exactly what you needed to read. Now, here's the thing about signs. They are subjective. What feels like a sign to you might just be a coincidence to someone else, and that's okay. The question isn't whether it's objectively a sign. The question is whether it's meaningful to you. Does it resonate? Does it give you information or comfort or direction? Trust your gut on this. If something feels significant, it probably is, at least for you in that moment. Another way the universe communicates is through your intuition, that gut feeling, that inner knowing, that voice that's quieter than your anxious thoughts, but somehow more solid. When you're connected to the universe, your intuition gets clearer. You start to sense when something is right or wrong for you, even if you can't really logically explain why. The challenge is learning to distinguish between intuition and fear or wishful thinking. Intuition, it usually feels calm and certain, even if it's telling you something difficult. Fear feels anxious and scattered. Wishful thinking feels like grasping. But with practice, you get better at recognizing the difference. And also, the universe communicates through the events in your life, the lessons that keep showing up, the patterns you notice, the people who enter at exactly the right time. And when you start looking at your life as a conversation with something bigger, you start to see meaning in places you didn't before. Now, here's one of the hardest parts about having a relationship with the universe. Trust. Specifically, trusting when things don't make sense, when life feels chaotic or painful or unfair, when you can't see the bigger picture. In human relationships, trust is built over time through consistency and care. And the same is true here. You build trust with the universe by looking back at your life and noticing the times when things that seemed terrible at the moment actually led somewhere meaningful, like that relationship that ended and devastated you. Maybe it opened space for you to meet someone better, or maybe it taught you something crucial about yourself. The job you lost, maybe it pushed you onto a path you never would have taken otherwise. And that difficult period, maybe it made you stronger or more compassionate. I think that we have the ability to find meaning and growth in difficult experiences. And sometimes when we look back, we can see how the dots connected in ways we couldn't have predicted. When you're in the thick of something hard and you can't see the purpose, that's when trust comes in. That's when you have to say, I don't understand this, but I trust that I'm going to be okay. I trust that there's something here I need to learn or experience, even if I can't see it yet. That trust doesn't mean you're passive. You still take action, you still make choices, you still advocate for yourself, but underneath all of that, there's a fundamental trust that you're supported by something bigger than your own efforts. And honestly, sometimes you don't have that trust. Sometimes you're angry or scared or feeling completely abandoned by the universe, and that's okay too. That's part of the relationship. The messy, honest, real parts where you're not pretending everything is fine. And you will have times where you feel like you feel distant or broken when you're going through the motions, but you don't feel anything. When you pray or meditate and it feels like you're talking to a wall. When nothing feels meaningful, just random and harsh. These dry periods happen to everyone, and they're actually a normal part of any deep relationship. Think about human relationships. Even with people that you love deeply, there are times when you feel disconnected, when you're just kind of going through the motions. Sometimes the disconnection is because you're going through something that's closed you off. Grief, depression, trauma. These states can make it hard to feel anything, including spiritual connection. And if that's where you are, the answer is not to force it. It's to be gentle with yourself, to recognize that this is a season, not forever. To do the basic, take care of your body, rest, get support, and trust that that connection will return when you're ready. And sometimes the disconnection is because you've been doing all the taking and none of the listening. You've been asking for things or complaining or demanding signs, but you haven't created any space for the universe to respond. In that case, try spending time in silence. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit in nature. Meditate. Create space for the universe to meet you. And sometimes, and this is important, the disconnection is actually the universe pushing you to find your own answers. You know, kind of like a parent who steps back so their child can learn to walk on their own. Sometimes you're just meant to trust yourself, to make the decision, to stop waiting for a sign and just choose. Sometimes the relationship needs to evolve. Maybe the way you used to connect doesn't work anymore because you've grown or changed. Maybe you need to find new practices or new ways of experiencing that connection. So be willing to explore and try new things. So let's talk about the day-to-day practices that keep this relationship alive. Because like any relationship, it needs attention, it needs consistency, and it needs care. And one of the simplest practices is a daily check-in. This can be as short as a few minutes. Like in the morning, you might set an intention for the day or ask for guidance. At night, you might express gratitude or reflect on where you saw the universe showing up. Spending time in nature is huge. Creative practices can also be a form of connection. When you're painting or writing or playing music or dancing, you're often tapping into something that feels like it's coming through you rather than from you. And that flow state is a kind of communication, or state is a kind of communion with the universe. Paying attention to your dreams can be part of this relationship too. So keep a dream journal, notice patterns, see if anything feels like it's trying to get your attention. And here's a big one: follow your curiosity and your joy. When something lights you up or fascinates you for no logical reason, that's often the universe nudging you in a direction. And those nudges are usually gentle. They don't force you, they invite you. But if you consistently ignore them, they get quieter. So when you feel pulled towards something, a person, a place, a project, a question, pay attention to that. One of the paradoxes of having a relationship with the universe is figuring out the balance between effort and surrender, between taking action and letting go. So, which is it? Do you push or do you surrender? The answer, frustratingly, is both, but not at the same time. You do your part and then you let the universe do its part. You take the actions that are in front of you. You make the best decisions you can with the information you have. You show up, you try, and then you release your attachment to a specific outcome. You trust that whatever happens is what's meant to happen, or at least that you'll be able to handle it. Surrender doesn't mean giving up or being lazy or not caring. It means doing what's yours to do and then releasing the need to control everything beyond that. So why does any of this matter? Why bother cultivating a relationship with something you can't see or prove? For me, it comes down to a couple of things. First, it makes life feel more meaningful when you believe that you're part of something bigger, that there is an intelligence or love or consciousness that you're connected to. Everything shifts. Your struggles aren't just random suffering, they're part of a journey. Your joys aren't just fleeting moments, they're glimpses of something eternal. Your choices matter not just for you, but in some larger context. Also, it makes you less alone. Life is hard, people die, relationships end, dreams don't work out, things fall apart. But if you have a relationship with the universe, you always have something to turn to, something to talk to, something that's holding you even when everything else feels unstable. And it's going to help you navigate uncertainty, because life is full of decisions where there's no clear right answer. If you have a practice of tuning into something bigger than your anxious mind, you have another resource. You can ask for guidance. You can wait for signs. You can trust your intuition. You're not just stuck in your head trying to find logic in everything. And it makes you more grateful and more present. When you're in this relationship with the universe, you start noticing the good stuff more, the little miracles, the perfect timing, the unexpected gifts. You're paying attention to life in a different way, and that attention itself makes life richer. All of these paths are valid. The question isn't which one is right. The question is, which one helps you feel connected? Which one makes you feel like you're part of something bigger and helps you live with more love and courage and more peace? And your path might change. What worked for you 5 years ago might not work now. What doesn't resonate right now might become meaningful later. Be willing to evolve. Be willing to question and try new things. The universe is not fragile, okay? Your relationship with it doesn't break because you have doubts or because you go through a phase where you don't believe or because you try different practices. If anything, that just deepens the relationship because they make it more honest. So, here's what I want you to take away from this episode. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of it, and that means you can have a relationship with it. You can talk to it, listen to it, trust it, question it, celebrate with it, rage with it, or at it. This relationship, like all relationships, takes attention, care, and honesty, but it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need special knowledge or training or gifts. You just need to show up and be real. And be patient with yourself. This isn't about being perfectly spiritual or having it all figured out. It's about being in relationship with the mystery of life itself. Some days the relationship will feel close and clear. Other days it'll feel distant or confusing. Both are okay. Both are part of the journey. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Randomness. I would love to hear about your relationship with the universe, how you cultivate it, what it looks like for you, what challenges you've faced. This is such a personal topic, and every perspective is valuable. Until next time, remember, you're not alone. You're a part of something vast and mysterious and beautiful, and that something is in relationship with you, whether you're always aware of it or not. Take care of yourself, be gentle, and stay curious. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow. And remember, keep your energy grounded, your mind open, and your curiosity alive.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.